I've got a confession to make.
I need to get this off my chest. As a business owner, we all make mistakes.
I've got to confess.
And we are live, but we are doing it a little bit differently today. I've got a very, very special episode for you for Confessions of a Business Owner. I am pleasured and honored to be joined by Brian and Rhonda Swan for the first guest episode of Confessions of a Business Owner. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. How are you doing?
We are awesome. Salamat Pagi from Bali.
It's Valentine's Day. I'm wearing my red.
Yeah, we should actually do that. It was quite convenient that I'd have a couple on for Valentine's Day, really making the most of the spirit. I'm looking forward to a very nice Valentine's with my partner B tonight, but happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there. Though, I was so lucky to get to spend a lot of time with you guys at the start of the year and really kick the year off right in 2018. And I thought, what better way to have a follow-on from that, but to have you on the podcast and to get to know you guys a little bit more. Now, I want to open this up, but before we do that, let's spend a couple of minutes letting the listeners know what you guys actually do. Tell us a little bit about the Unstoppable family and how this all came to be.
Yeah,
the ladies first.
Yeah, absolutely. We are the Unstoppable family. Our brand actually started about 9 years ago, and we started traveling the world. We'll talk a bit more about that. But what we do, we've created what's called the Freedompreneur movement, where we not only inspire, but we help other families create freedom businesses and really allow them to explore their mindset of what is really possible, not only raising a child, but also building a business and being able to travel around the world. So we founders of the Freedompreneur movement and also the Sexy Brand Building Formula, where I mainly work with women entrepreneurs and help them define their true passions and turn them into a profit-making machine.
Fantastic. And Brian, do you want to weigh in on that one as well?
Well, we're co-founders into the Freedompreneur movement, and she is the Sexy Brand Building. And together, we've been in the online world for almost 13 years now, but it came down to it just out of a necessity. We were in affiliate marketing, and about 2.5 years ago, we said, you know what, we have to go on and, give the foundations, the assets that people really need to build an online brand. And so that's where the Freedompreneur Academy really came about, of setting up people the proper way and then giving them the roadmap to start with a brand and then be able to bring anything they like online.
So awesome, guys. And I'm going to quickly throw another one on that. There's another member of the Unstoppable family, which is Hanale, your beautiful daughter. And I was very, very inspired to see her in Bali. And does this mean we're going to, I thought we were going to get a photo yet? We are? Just poke it in?
On the coffee mug.
Excellent. So for anyone on the video, you'll be able to see a photo at the moment, but they have this amazing girl, Hanale, who is a absolute little baller entrepreneur as well. And that was one of the things that really attracted me to coming to Bali and spending more time with you guys, is how passionate you guys were about her development in the entrepreneur kind of ways and the traveling things that I don't think many kids get to expose to at all. So how did that come about from side of things? When did you decide this was going to be the path for Hanale?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it wasn't because we said, hey, let's travel the world and show our child, learning lessons, not out of a textbook or in real life. It became as a necessity because we actually, I'll kind of back up before we started to travel. I was a corporate executive. Brian was a robotics engineer, and I saw a woman putting a baby in daycare and said, whoa, what am I doing? I'm, being groomed to run the Western division of this huge company. How am I ever going to be a great parent? So I started looking for ways to replace my income, and working online was one of the business models that I chose. So we had 3 years, quit my job. I retired Brian, developed my business online, doing extremely well. And then after 3 years, I decided, yay, it's time to have a baby. And we have this incredible little child, thinking, got this big house, all these things set up. We're both working from home. We're gonna be able to raise an amazing child and be with her every day. Well, something very big happened, and I think this is part of our confession.
This is confession.
I was going to say, where I kind of tried to dob you in because I wanted to talk a little bit about Hanalei, because I've been so blown away from her. And like, one of the things I would really love the listeners to get is like, there's so many options for taking your kids on the road and really seeing the world with children and doing amazing things. But I feel like we're going to have to come back to Hanalei, because I feel like this is tied in to your confession.
It is.
Ooh, so let's not give too much away at the moment. I think it's actually time to confess. I think it's happening. The whole point of the show.
I know it really wasn't intended that way, because we can definitely talk about her, and you need to have her on the show, Charlie.
And the reason she's not on here right now is that she's in her studio right now. She's a fashion designer, and she's working with her, I think now 5.
She's got now 5 employees. And
she's working with her mentor right now. So she's busy right now, Charlie. So I'll have to check to make sure that she's available for your next podcast.
I'll be lucky to get a spot on her schedule.
I know. So let's give some confessions then, because this is actually why we always say, wow, even though you might be in a really turmoil moment, that everything happens for a reason, and it's definitely progressed, so we can chat about that. But the reason behind why we started traveling the world is we got offered an investment to invest in a large golf course, resort, build different homes, and literally thinking this is going to take our family life to the next level, to my husband's family, my family, our investment life to a whole new level. And
let me let's share this. When she said I was a robotics engineer, she was an executive. We're both making 6 figures, right? So and living in California, it was like the American dream lifestyle, cars, insurance, the whole enchilada. And it was during that time where we started investing in real estate, buying one house, then buying another. And then lo and behold, we're balling, we're thinking nothing can go wrong. Started making some investments, got in connection with the wrong people. And you know what? We pretty much went all chips in. So that's confession number 1. Just don't go all chips in on this.
So did you think you'd kind of made it at this point? And I'll just recap that quickly, is that pretty much living the American dream, like 6-figure incomes in the corporate world, making investments, which we all, is the perceived thing to do, got to a point where it was like, we're going all in on this because we want to make it and we're confident. And then all of a sudden things weren't as they seemed.
And let me just, when Rhonda left her job, she was able to replace her 6-figure job online in the first year. And then she retired me. And I said, I'm not going to leave my corporate job until we replace both of our incomes. She did that. And it was within just over a year and a half. And I was full into the business. And from there, we're like, we can do anything. And that's where it's like, okay, this online thing is not going anywhere. Let's, the real estate market's rocking. Let's keep on investing. And that's where... Yeah,
we were presented with an opportunity. We're like, yeah, we're rocking right now. I mean, this is in 2007, 2008, when real estate was just hopping, right? You literally could invest in anything and make money, especially in California. So we're like, of course, we just made $500,000 on our first house. We're renting it. We bought our second house. Life is great. And sure enough, this guy comes. He's like, wow, I got this great opportunity, guys. It's a golf course, deal. And we're going to have like 12 houses. And yes, we're in.
And it wasn't just us, but then we're like, let's retire my family, my parents, my brother, my sister, our friends. Holy smokes. When you're going down, it's one thing. But when you bring in your family and friends, oh my God. It was.
So when you say all chips in, you literally mean all chips in.
Everything. We took all of our 401k, all of he had funds that he had gotten from his father's passing away. And we were like everything. We signed our name on, I think, 5 to 12 different $1 million notes of homes. We were in it for everything, and parents and all. And so we were thinking, here's this brand new baby we're getting ready to have now. Let's do this. And now this online world, we can scale this, send it to anyone else, and life will be great. And we'll just build this family. Well, that changed about 1 year later.
And it was essentially right when Hanalei was born. So to give you a time frame, this is in April 7th or April 17th, 2007. So just over 10 years ago. And not only did we have our daughter, but it was one of those things where my best friend, and this is where I knew shit was hitting the fan. And sorry if that's I won't curse again.
No, we're all about it. We'll just get it out of the way. So if you want to say fuck, shit, just listen it. Like, go for it, guys.
But my friend who invested $250,000 in it, and he's the CFO of Rip Curl, my best friend from college, and he says, "Dude, we're getting screwed. We're getting screwed." And I'm like, "No, I'm with his daughters, like his 4 daughters. I'm staying in his house. There's no way." He's like, "Man, we're getting screwed." And I didn't even want to believe my best friend. He was right. We were getting screwed.
Yeah.
And when it came down to it, we're like, holy shit. We are going to lose. We're millionaires, just a little bit under millionaire status. And we were losing everything to where we got to a point of the $5 burrito. And that's a story upon itself.
Yeah, that he bought a $5 burrito and it took our account over and they charged us $35 for it. Like, that's how deep it was.
Ouch.
We couldn't afford Skype credit anymore. Like, in our businesses online, so we need to talk to people internationally on Skype. Like, it was to the point where, and then we're going through lawyers and lawyers and lawyers, hundreds of thousands of dollars in lawyers to try to recover. And so after about, we literally, it took us about 6 months, even to a full year, to finally go, we can't keep leading like this. This guy literally took our green name, and the lawyer said he's basically behind bulletproof glass because we see him. We just can't penetrate him. We know what he's doing. We know what he's done. But you, Swans, signed your name in the ink that said, yes, I want that house. I want that house. I want that house. I want that house. And so all the construction loans, we signed off the rights, the construction, the funds for the construction loan, sucked all the money out of them. And all of a sudden, when the construction loans are due, the homes were only a shell. And the banks wanted it, and they wanted it bad.
So what did life become like here? Because I can only imagine is like the high, the euphoria of achieving the American dream in this case, or the world dream of like, I'm set up, this is it. Yeah. And then coming to a place of losing that and hitting a low. How did life change for you guys? Like, did you lose the home you were in? Did you go live with mom and dad? Like, what happened next year?
We had that choice. I mean, literally it was, do we go back and get jobs? And we had great jobs. I have a master's degree in business. I can pick up a job quickly.
I was a robotics engineer in California. I was the top person for almost a decade before we started doing this. So we could have easily done that. And all of our friends were kind of consoling us and like, it's okay, guys. It's okay. You can get your jobs back. Well,
but how do you go and teach people how to make money if you don't have any, right? Like they were like, literally, we were like stuck going, jobs? No, we got all these people telling us to do the right thing, and I've got a baby. And I literally remember.
Do you know what? I forgot about Hanalei in this scenario here. So it's like you've not only lost it all, you've got a brand new baby.
She just turned 1 year old.
Just turned one when we found out we have to sign off on everything. So your question though was valid. How do we feel? We were so insecure, just like sick to our stomach, anxiety. He wasn't sleeping. I've got a brand new baby. I'm not sleeping. And we go from confident living at the top of the world, right, to literally like everyone knowing that we're losing it all, and shame, right? Like pure shame is involved. And so it was really difficult. And we had to make a very drastic decision to not allow it to happen. And it was not easy. I can't even express to you how horrible the moment was, because we're teaching people prosperity consciousness, how to build businesses, how to work online, live this amazing life. And our life was not amazing at that time.
It was probably a year and a half of the worst mental mind, like disaster. Having no idea what's going on. Lawyers, lawsuits, you couldn't process it. Yeah.
Family members crying, freaking out because they pulled money out of their IRAs. They pulled money out of their homes.
I had to tell my parents that in order for them to be able to, where they've lived in the same 10-mile radius for their entire life, that they're going to have to move because, if they decide to come after you, they're going to, you're done. And they had to move from there down to Florida. Everything works out, but I tell you, it was the it was the worst time of our lives.
Yeah.
Like at that point, there's no
But it
doubt
should
about
be elation because you have a brand new baby, right?
So how'd you go about, I suppose, changing things? Because like, I don't want to spoil the end of the story. Like things work out all right, guys, if anyone's in despair right now. But it's like, how did you go about building yourself up and getting back to a place of prosperity from
You ever read that book by Tim Ferriss called The 4-Hour Workweek?
I think that's got to be like in the entrepreneurial must reads, like for all of us. Yes, I've definitely read it.
Okay, so during that time, I had read the book, we've listened to the audio, and I'm very big on we're both big on audiobooks. And I'd ride my bike through on the boardwalk in San Diego or go on a jog. And for some reason, I've heard this book 3 times, but this mini retirement, when we knew that we were losing everything, for some reason, the chapter in the book kept on coming up about, hey, have an automated system, work online, go travel the world. And I said it to Rhonda, I go, honey, we're losing everything, but instead of going back and getting jobs, we know how to make money online. I go, check this out. What if we just sold everything, got rid of everything, and traveled the world? And her reply was,
what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm keeping this house. I have this brand new baby. If I lose everything, at least I've got my house and my baby and I can build it back up again. So exactly like that.
And then I went, okay. And about a month later, I'm going down, and this was when the iPhones would just come on, the audio would come on. It came on a month later to this thing, talking about signs. And I went, oh my God. I go, it's a sign. I go, honey. So a month later, I said, honey, I go, I know you said no before, but what if we just sold everything? It's getting worse and go travel the world. And she said the same. What the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah, no.
And 1 month later after that, it came up again out of nowhere. And I said, honey,
3 signs.
I'm going to put this computer down and I'm going to push play. I want you to hear this part of the chapter, the audiobook. I'm going to go to sleep, listen to it. You can shut the computer down. But just listen to the whole thing. She said, okay. At 2 a.m, I got up. She's not in bed. I walked down to go get a glass of water, and she has a laptop, and it says Bali. And I went, yes, we're doing it.
Persistence pays. It took a few signs.
Absolutely.
But I can only imagine, though, at this stage you were at, like that's a big call to go, right, we're leaving our home now, because that was the point of ownership. Like that was the thing you were holding on to in that scenario. So it would have been a huge mental barrier and mindset shift across to go from that.
Yeah,
so
awesome. We'll consider going from finding out and everyone knowing, right, that you're losing everything. So here we are, top of the hill, Deepak Chopra lived down the road, Frank Kern just lived above us. Like, we were on top of La Jolla, Mount Soledad. Like we were rocking it, right? And then everyone knows all this, so it's bad enough. Then to say, well, we decided to actually sell everything, and now we're going to travel the world with our baby. Then it was worse. Like, are you nuts? You guys are irresponsible. What's wrong? You have a child. Like, then it got double. And again, we could have easily fell into that. And all I did is looked at Hannah Lane. I remember this to this moment. If there's mothers that watch this or parents, she was just a year, and I'm holding her, and she's in her fuzzy little blue, pink chair and rocking her. And I looked down at her and I went, wait a minute. I vowed to her that I'll never put her in daycare. Like that was my vow. I'll never put you in daycare. So I'm now potentially considering going back to a job. Who's going to watch her? My parents live in Michigan. His family lives in Florida. Who's going to watch my baby? This is why we've done all this. And that moment I made that decision and said, no way. Okay, we can do this. Let's do it. We literally had a fire sale on our front yard, like living in La Jolla, the egos that tend to come along with those kind of things, with your 2 Mercedes in the front and your Escalade in the front, and then you're fire sailing all your shit. Awkward.
I got pictures. It looks funny.
It looks funny. And people, they're nickel and diming us. We gave so much amazing stuff to
we just
local
started
people.
Giving stuff away. We're like,
$1,000 Bugaboo strollers, people buying our artwork. Take it. So we left literally 6 months exactly later. We made the decision in June. We left in November, and we left with $12,863 left to our name. Nothing more. And we started our life again with our baby.
And
awesome.
Our daughter's named Hanalei, and we went back to the place where we got married, which is Hanalei Bay in Kauai. And 3 days after that, we celebrated our 5-year wedding anniversary with our 1.5-year-old baby daughter.
So that was the turning point then. That was one of the little beautiful moments where you were in. You effectively burned the boats. You'd gotten rid of the old life and shedded and moved into the next.
And you know what? It was after we made that decision and did that move, then the business started coming back, because we just kind of like left that barrier. We're like, you know what? We don't have to worry about this. Let's focus moving forward. And we started making money again.
Yeah.
What's amazing though is that, like, I met you guys in Bali and I didn't know so much of the backstory, and it's quite easy to look at you guys today and think, oh, these guys had it easy. Like, you know, they just rocked up and they're the unstoppable family. And it's like, when you start hearing this stuff, it's like, oh, wow. Like, there was a huge period and huge challenge which you guys had to overcome and did.
Yeah.
So let's dig into that next part there. So you're in Hawaii and you've shed this old life and come into a new thing, and the business is starting back. How did you end up in Bali eventually? Why was this the place to go?
Well, it was in alignment. We kind of wrote down everywhere where we wanted to be. And Brian, we both were surfers. We met surfing 20 years ago in the water. So it was always, where's the best place to go surfing that we would want to live? And we just listed it. And so Hawaii started, and Bali we had went there together by ourselves here in Bali on a boat trip. And we're like, we got to go to Bali. We have to go to Bali. So we started in Hawaii. We did a weird jump. We went to Mexico, and then we did like Fiji. We did all kinds of weird bounces. Costa Rica, Nicaragua. And then we came to Bali. We were here for 4 months. And then, of course, we left again and kept traveling in all different locations.
When we made the decision to go travel, it was just a 2-year trip around the world.
Right.
And now it's been over 9 years now. So it was one of those things when we started going to places, we're like, why stop? Why does it have to be 2 years? Let's keep on going until it's not fun, you know?
Excellent. So now I want to segue a little bit into what we talked about earlier about Hanalei. Yeah. So along the way, obviously, I was very, very fortunate to get to meet Hanalei. And one of the things I was most blown away with, and I might have the age wrong, but she's 11, is that right?
She'll be 11 April 17th.
11 on April 17th. And I was having this great conversation with Hanalei, and it hit me, well, that she's 10. I couldn't believe, I felt like I was talking to someone that was like 25 or 30. Like, it was a fully developed mind that was articulate and had such strong conversation. And I'm not going to diss my own little cousins or anything, but like, I have 10-year-olds in the family and they don't speak like that. Yeah. And I was like, what has happened here? There's this amazing little soul that is developing and doing amazing things. And I was like, what happened here? Is this a byproduct of living around the world? Like, and then digging deeper, I got to spend some time with you guys and hear about, you know, Unstoppable Kids and the effort and energy you've put into Hanalei's development. I was like, well, the world needs to know about this a little bit more. So can you guys talk a little bit about how that came to be?
Yeah, absolutely. And so here we are, you know, traveling, and when we realized that all of those visions that we had of raising your daughter, you know, so she'd never had to be in daycare, it was coming to even more fruition now that we're traveling around the world, because, you know, we live in our little box. We lived in that top of the hill box, right? So now she's traveling around the world. She's seeing cultures, colors, meeting people, different levels of life. And we realized, whoa, why stop? Because really, this is going to be the best education we could ever have our daughter be involved in, right? And learn from. So she's not learning from a textbook. She's actually learning from life. And, you know, she, at the time she was like 3 years old, she actually didn't even know that there was color. Her Uncle Jabril, he's from Nigeria, dark as can be. And she would ask when she's going to get tan like Uncle Jabril, right? So we were seeing like, whoa, Hanalei is learning and understanding cultures and people and environments and what the world is more about through her own eyes opposed to textbook. And we took it really seriously. It turned into, now this is what we want to create and show and inspire other families. And that's, I think, why Unstoppable Family got really so much awareness, is because what we were willing to do is most people are not willing to do it. And now here she is. Let's fast forward. She's traveled all over the world, more than 40 countries. And because we always said to her, not what do you want to be when you grow up? We said, what do you want to be now? Like, what do you really want to be? And at 4, she said, I want to be a fashion designer. I want to go to Paris. And she was 3. I want to go to Paris with a pink poodle. And then she wanted to be a fashion designer. We're like, okay, then yeah, let's do that. And we didn't realize just that moment that she was actually already, it was being created in her mind. She was already doing it. And she was sketching and sketching and sketching. And she was discovered about 2 years ago.
And just to give you a heads up, we don't come from the fashion world.
No art, nothing.
So the fact that she did not learn any of this from us, and we couldn't identify it. We just thought she was just sketching funny drawings.
It's so amazing. And one of the things I want to highlight, so there's no misconceptions here, is like Hanale's picked her own way, and that's what makes it so beautiful. It's not like this was imposed on her. As you said, you guys couldn't have because you don't know fashion,
Right.
which makes it even better.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were always very aware of her meeting people around the world, and expats and local, and she's seeing things that they're doing and learning and having conversations with these mainly adults. And that just started to inspire and just be part of her soul. And so when most recently she was discovered by her mentor who now lives in her studio, that she said, I'm a fashion designer. And Hanale goes, well, I am too. She's like, you are? And we were like, what is she talking about? She jumps up after like literally sleeping, jumps up, shows her book. And she goes, these are incredible. Like, who did these?
And we didn't, she goes, well, if you're a fashion designer, I'm sure you have your sketchbook. And she goes, of course I do. And I looked and like, you do? I was like, you mean that thing you're just doing those little sketches?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now she's unstoppable. She's author of the Unstoppable Kids book. She's the founder of Unstoppable Kids program. She's a fashion designer, an artist, and now international speaker. That she's got a mission to inspire kids and people to go after their passions.
Yeah, I'll put it out there. I actually personally had a huge mindset shift. I think my consensus, and even for me and Dee, we kind of built it up, is that when you have kids, you've got to kind of settle down. You got to like form the home base, and like that's when you like don't go anywhere and you ignore the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And then after the experience with you guys, I was like, that's completely backwards. That's when we need to do more of our travel and create more of those experiences. So thank you for that shift. It's had a massive impact on what we are kind of planning to do with our lives now as well. So can you guys tell us a little bit more about what we want to complete the loop here? So we were on cloud nine, American Dream. Went into a situation that was incredibly challenging, where we'd lost it pretty much all, to the point where we're paying $35 for a $5 burrito, which I love that little bit. Family and friends had been involved in this as well, which makes the hardship, like I can only imagine now, because you've got your parents that were in on it and your friends and family and all this stuff, which just takes it to this other level. And then having to kind of shed that version of yourself and coming to something new, making the decision to travel and building it all back up again, which I'll give you massive props for, because a lot of people don't come back from that stuff. Like it's a huge vamp on your mindset to be able to say, right, well, this isn't it. We're going to strive for more. What does life look like now on the other side from building that all back up? What type of lifestyle do you get to enjoy? And what are your aspirations next from here?
Can I throw in one more confession?
This is where we were. This is where we are, right? So, and then I'm having two fingers, one's at the bottom, one's at the top. You know that entrepreneurial, dream, whatever. It doesn't look like a straight line. It goes.
Of course.
What happened in between from where we are now before what happened?
So not only have we lost it once, but we ended up losing everything again. And it was the start of Freedompreneur movement. And when I said we've been doing it strong for 2.5 years, it was actually 6 years ago that we said we're done with affiliate marketing. We're going to be building this Freedompreneur. We had a tribe. We started building it, put all chips. We did all chips
in again.
Ooh, there's a theme here, guys.
And lo and behold, we're in Lake Tahoe. Actually next to Jamie Anderson, who just won the gold again.
She's a friend. She was our neighbor.
And we had everything. And then Rhonda got this message, and basically we had the people that were developing our stuff start to blackmail us, locked us out of all of our IP, all of our stuff. And we were sitting there with, taking out my life insurance, taking out loans and putting the all chips cashed into Freedompreneur. And we didn't have our Freedompreneur whole course, our book, all the intellectual property.
They took everything and locked us out of it.
Yep. So that is where
So we're into confession number 2. So we have to look at this. All right. So, okay, I lost it all, built it back up, and then once again, all chips in, and we've fallen into another situation. I'm just going to say it's not ideal, but I can only imagine this after going through it the first time to hit it the second time. Did it? Well, I know the end story, but it must have broken you to a point. It must have been out there that you felt a deeper resonance to this one.
Yeah, you can take our money, but when you actually take our life and our life story and the ideas that we've got to help inspire other people, that was more crippling. I was curled up in a ball, like I've been putting all my effort and time and everything into actually the creation side of it all. Before it was just investing. Okay, we lost it. That was dumb. This is like now part of what we believe in our soul. And I'm, 36 hours of a book and just so much planning to be locked out. That was crushing. That was crippling. I think the best part for us at that point, though, at least, was that we knew we'd already could do it again. We've already done it once. We can do it again, right? We reached out to some really amazing, beautiful mentors that gave us some great advice, and we just went straight at it hard again. And sure enough, we had such a quick, regrowth, rapid regrowth, because we had the right people around us, asked the right questions, and then we had to go hard, and we went back into the area and element that we didn't want to work in, but we realized that we knew how to make money there.
I have to jump in on this. You ever, the book, 50 Cent, The 50th Law, and it was during this time, if you haven't read that book, amazing book,
awesome.
When he got shot in the face before he was going to go big, the record deals got signed off, and he's like basically destitute for nothing. He had to go back on the streets, sell crack cocaine in order for him to build himself up to enough to get money so he could start doing his music again. Well, that was kind of like what I thought of the network marketing industry. And my buddy, who heard Jabril before, I'm like, I'm never going back. I'm never going back. And I was listening to 50 Cent. He goes, I had to go back and sell freaking crack and cocaine. And I'm on a lift.
He comes into the
I'm serious. I'm on a ski lift. And we had our season passes. So even though we lost everything, I'm like, I'm going snowboarding in Lake Tahoe. And I'm listening to 50 Cent. And my buddy goes, dude, for every $6 I'm putting in Facebook ads for this guy, or for every $1, we're making $6. He goes, your story is so much better. We'll probably make 8 to 10. And I'm like, I'm going back to selling crack and cocaine. Well, so we had to sell crack cocaine, not literally. It was network marketing affiliate. And I came back to Rhonda and said,
we're going to go sell crack. And I went, well, that sounds amazing.
we just have to recognize this. There's another, okay, so twice now. Okay, so twice we've gone all in. And the first time Brian's come back and go, we're going on a mini retirement.
Yeah.
And the second time he's like, right, we're selling crack. He's just like up in his game.
Yep.
So we actually sold crack for about 2.5 years, ended up becoming the number one income earners, but we just knew it wasn't what we needed to do. And we had that passion so strongly in Freedompreneur, just so it was a burning desire. And we said, you know what? We can't do it anymore. We have a tribe, we built it up, but now we have to go do this. This is our mission. This is what we set out to do. And that was about 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, we realized what the vision was, and that if we were going to do it, we probably lost about $1 million in revenue, like in income, by just cutting the ties. But then when we went into really focusing on what our vision was, that's when Freedompreneur, we started this academy, because we always kept seeing these gaps that were going on in online businesses. They weren't just being taught really the right way. And for me, it was building a brand, starting to build a brand, and then you have a legacy for life. And that's what I started to focus on. Like, if I can help people actually build a brand that's theirs, take what they know, package it up, productize it, and now start selling it, teach them how to sell it to the world. Now we're really creating real online businesses, real people, real lives, real stories, and real skills. And that's where it started. And now, of course, we've got hundreds of thousands of Freedompreneurs all over the world. We've got our thousands of our private tribe, people that have worked with us and followed us for years and years and years. And, now we're able to continue that. Now I have a program that help people build brands.
It's so, so awesome. I think there's so many powerful lessons in listening to that. And the thing that resonates most with me is it's never the situation, it's the people that make it. Like when those hard things come up, if the people aren't right and the mindsets aren't right, and getting back up just doesn't happen. And I hope it never happens. But if anyone was going to come back from a third time, it would be you guys. Like you're well rehearsed in making that comeback. And if it does happen, all I want to know is what Brian comes home and says this third time.
What are we doing next?
Yeah.
Well, Brian, he said it. We said we want to be real estate moguls back in the day. Well, little did we realize that most all real estate moguls and big entrepreneurs have lost it multiple times. In fact, they say usually 2 to 5 times you go bankrupt before you really hit it big. Well, we're working on not hitting that limit any longer, but I think
two's enough.
We're good.
But the other really important thing in your story is that, and I love that you were able to tie this back to the 50 Cent book, is that when these things go down as a business owner, like, would you be willing to go sell crack on the streets or flip burgers or go back to a job knowing it was required to get back to there and dropping the ego? And I always give massive credit because I stand behind that. And I've even met people where it's like they wouldn't, and I know it's holding them back. Me, I'd happily go stack shelves at a shopping center if I knew that was going to take me on the path to my dreams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, not everyone is, people, it's your risk aversion, right? Not everyone has that in them, although there are certain levels that, especially entrepreneurs, I mean, I truly believe entrepreneurs, you do something because you truly have a passion for it, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it. And we can always make it happen just a little bit different than you expected. Like, here's an amazing child. Well, we thought we were going to bring her home and, work with her and be with her all her life for her to become this amazing child. Well, instead, she had to go through the turmoil and chaos that we were going through. But because she was there, we were so conscious about who we were being every moment, because we're involved in all the stresses, right? And we're scared and fearful. Then we had to realize, okay, do I just want to be this egotistical person that had all this money and I was pissed off and upset that I lost everything? No, I'm going to learn taking pure responsibility for decisions I've made, being in front of her and keeping joy and happiness and love between us so that she can see no matter what, that's the core foundation of life, not, oh my gosh, that guy stole everything we had and blah, 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 right? So we had to make a very conscious decision. So now the outcome is this amazing child with vision and passion and dreams.
Yeah, it's huge. So I'm going to ask a deeper question here, is that do you think you would have what you have today without these challenges, without these massive perceived things that could have broken a lot of people? Did it contribute to what you have today?
Yeah. To answer that, if we would have made the decision to go back and get our corporate jobs, we wouldn't be on this podcast. We'd still be working our corporate jobs and life would be totally different. It would probably be decent, right? But it wouldn't be this.
Yeah.
And it actually took probably 2 to 3 years to where I of all places, we're like by Machu Picchu, and somebody says, what was you're traveling the world. This is 3 years into it. What's been the greatest gift? And it was the first time to where I could just let it go and it was losing it all. We had to do it. We weren't ready. Yeah. We weren't ready for success.
We would have lost it anyway.
We would have lost it anyway. It was either going to happen.
We grew too fast. We got too green. So many great things were happening. Invested money. This money was coming at us. And our families weren't raised that way. We weren't raised that way. So it's like, wow, buying Mercedes and extra cars that I literally drove 2,000 miles a year. And I had a convertible and then an SL500 when my child was born. Like, who the hell does that? Come on. It's ridiculous.
And now we have motorbikes.
And we feel styling.
You've got to appreciate the irony in that, Dowie. And I think that's such a beautiful realization that we had to lose it all. And when you can see that, it frees you. It absolutely, because you could quite easily hold that in the wrong way and let it be your crutch. But instead, it's become your inspiration.
And it was when we were losing it all and we were like, oh my gosh, what's going on? There was a Deepak Chopra radio and Wayne Dyer was a special guest. And those were two of our people that we listened to audiobooks, like two of our spiritual guides and Rhonda. I go, give a call. You got to ask the question. I go, if anybody's going to help us, it's going to be Wayne Dyer and Deepak Chopra. And so we have this recorded. It's on YouTube, and I'll give this to you. But we asked this. Rhonda was asking the question about what do we do? We don't know what to do. And Wayne told us, they're like, first of all, you have to give forgiveness. And we're like, what the hell? We want to kill this guy. Then he goes, you want to be right. And he can't make you feel any way. I was so upset going, Wayne Dyer, what Deepak, this is, and it took months for us to have it sink in, but it's probably some of the best knowledge that we've ever taken away. You know, it was.
That would have been absolutely enraging at the time, but I'm sure you can appreciate it now.
100%.
So where can guys come to get to know more about you these days? Like, how do people get in touch or see more about the Unstoppable family and what you're getting up to today?
Unstoppablefamily.com is really the best. That's our website, our blog. That connects to my website, Hanalei's website. It connects to really the Freedompreneur movement and everything that we do. So unstoppablefamily.com. We are extremely active on Facebook. Find us on Facebook. And of course, you can also look at freedom-preneur.academy. And that's got all of our fun stuff that we do for business.
Just amazing, guys. Just amazing. And I'll make sure there's links to all of your stuff under this episode. I would encourage everyone who's watching this or listening to take a moment and just check out the Unstoppable family. It's a truly inspirational story, as you've heard here. Not to mention they're up to some absolutely amazing stuff in the online world and offer a wide range of services and ways to help people get ahead in the freedompreneur world. So that's it for this episode, guys. We're going to round this one out. Is there any final thoughts or things you would pass on? Laid it away. Go for it, Brian.
This could be a further episode, maybe with Hanalei, but third confession is meeting with you, Charlie. I appreciate you having us on this podcast. Being your first guest, I'm so grateful. And one of the things is we've made some decisions that you're helping us right now, assisting us, guiding us along. So we don't have that third go around. So Charlie, I really appreciate, your guidance and being able to take you out of your own business. So appreciate that, man.
That's so amazing, guys. I think I'll have to confess here. So I'll lead into this one because we can't finish on this note. And there's no rules on this podcast. We can do as we please. So in confession, this won't be the last podcast with Brian and Rhonda. There would definitely be another episode where we dig deeper into that last statement Brian said. So behind the scenes, I've been liaising with these guys and talking about some very important stuff with building a business that works without you. So what will come through on this next episode is we'll talk a little bit more about behind the scenes of what Brian and Rhonda are up to now and where we take them in the future with creating a truly separate business from what they get up to now. So that's the little teaser of what will come next from here. That is my confession and semi-confession of Brian. How do you feel about that one, guys?
Great.
Absolutely.
For that.
Wonderful. Showing the results. We start here and then what's happened? Where are these guys now?
I think that's so cool. I think it's an awesome lead in and a great hook to keep people interested in the podcast. So we'll wrap it up from here, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'm very humbled by the words you say. I truly, truly appreciate it. And more than anything, thank you so much for being the first guests on Confessions of a Business Owner and sharing some huge confessions that people wouldn't necessarily understand if they just met and understood you on service level. So massive thank you. That's it for this episode, guys. See you later. That's it from us.
See you later. Be unstoppable.
Be unstoppable, guys. Be unstoppable.